3 weeks after DPS stepped in to help the Austin Police Department with law enforcement, APD leaders say it's working.
But some city leaders say they're not happy about how this all started. They want to know more about how DPS is doing business.
Today, those leaders got an update from APD, and they've been asking for that for weeks now.
KVUE's Ford Sanders is live at APD headquarters tonight. And Ford, this is helping the department as these staffing issues linger.
Brian, that's exactly right. APD Chief Joseph Chacon says actually right now they have more than 300 officer vacancies in the department. He says that at this current moment, they have less officers than they did 15 years ago. Well, even though this new partnership's helping out some of that strain, city officials and community members also want to know what other impacts it could have moving forward. A new era of enforcement in Austin. In the first week of APD's partnership with DPS, violent crime was down 25% compared to last year. The second week, down 31%. And DPS has stopped more than 4,000 drivers, with about a quarter of them ending in tickets.
As somebody that lives on Riverside, I see these stops.
Chaz Moore is the executive director for the Austin Justice Coalition. One of his and some city officials' concerns is if certain neighborhoods are being disproportionately affected.
How are we ensuring that there is equitable distribution of troopers across the city and not just a heavy presence along the Eastern Crescent?
This is call driven. The decision on exactly where to deploy is not based upon we're telling them to deploy to this sector or this sector. What we're telling them is this is where the calls for service are coming in.
APD says DPS officers are deployed in 7 of their 9 sectors. However, more specific data will need to come directly from DPS.
Some of the questions that you have, I don't know the answer to.
Another concern comes down to enforcement policies. Moore gives APD and Austin voters credit in efforts to decriminalize certain marijuana offenses, but he says DPS troopers don't abide by those rules.
A law enforcement agency that, again, has no obligation to abide by local city ordinances that we here in the city of Austin have passed because we have had conversations around inequities in policing.
Mayor Kirk Watson announced this partnership on March 28th. City Council member Mackenzie Kelly says she wishes that council had been involved before it started.
A lot of the council members I've spoken with, it came as a surprise.
She says transparency is key and that the community's concerns are valid, so she wants to make sure people know they're being heard and officers are feeling supported.
This is something that's new to the city of Austin, and we don't want to implement it in the wrong way because we run the chance of losing trust in the community if it's not done properly.
There's no word on how long this partnership will actually last here in Austin, but there's also no set time frame for APD to report all of this data over to council. Now, we do know when there was a similar partnership between DPS and actually up in Dallas, that dissolved after about 7 weeks. Brian.